Ever hear of yak shaving? I hadn't until really just a few days ago. And I now know about it thanks to my brother in Christ and friend, Pete Harrington. So a special shout out to you. Thanks for sending me this great idea. Yak shaving is something that we really want to do. So if you keep watching, I'm going to tell you what it is and what we can do to get around it. And if you want to nerd out a little bit, I'll tell you some of the origin and a little bit of the controversy around even how it started. It's kind of interesting. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. I post 2 videos a week, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be reminded when I do. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. Okay, so the crux of yak shaving, without going into all of its origins, it's a euphemism from a Ren Stimpy Show where they did a little parody about yak shaving. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll tell you how that kind of thing got messed up. But it became a euphemism thanks to a guy named Carlin Vieri, who at the time that he coined it, sometime in the early 90s or mid 90s, he was working at an MIT lab. He was a PhD. And he coined the term, and it kind of evolved in its meaning. So now when you hear the term yak shaving, the idea is I've been distracted from the original goal I was trying to attain because I kept seeing other things that required fixing or addressing. And that is now how the term is used. So I'll read it from the Wikipedia page so you can see it. A less useful activity done consciously or subconsciously to procrastinate about a larger but more useful task. So the article that Pete Harrington sent me was from American Express Technology of all places. Maybe it was republished from them, but it's yak shaving, a short lesson on staying focused. So as I'm reading through it, the way the guy describes yak shaving, and this is Donovan West, an American Express developer relations guy who wrote this, I got the idea of a big hairy yak with its horns, and you're kind of shaving it with clippers, right? And it threw me off when I found out after doing a little bit of research. You can find it all over YouTube, actually. Yak shaving as a euphemism came to mean you start doing something important, and this is the example used by this guy, Donovan West. You want to bake an apple pie, so you head to the kitchen. In the hallway, you notice some paint chipping on the wall. So you walk to the hardware store for some paint. On the way, you pass a bakery and stop in for a cupcake. While eating the cupcake, you feel a pain in your mouth. Maybe that's a cavity you've been putting off, and next thing you know, you're kind of down a rabbit hole. But in the euphemism, it actually has, and I want to read this to you, also a positive connotation, which is why when I read the article, I thought, man, that's crazy, because I see yak shaving as any apparently useless activity, which by allowing you to overcome intermediate difficulties, leads you to solving a larger problem. So here's what I mean by that, and here's why I believe it's really important to understand the difference. If you've ever been accused of yak shaving, it means, in a sense, you have something like an attention deficit, I guess, at least temporary, if not chronic, where you're wanting to do something and you get so distracted, you never get back to the original thing that you're doing. I think it's important for us to allow our minds to do that and learn from it. And then as we practice this and allow our intuition to kind of lead us, we will start to develop a very finely tuned ability to know when we're doing a task, if by doing that task, it alerts us to another important task that requires attention. And what we want to do in that moment is let our brains determine if the new task that's been unveiled is more important than the original task we started out to do. This is why I talk about in my other videos, do not sacrifice long-term growth for short-term gain. So if you're doing something and by the very sake of doing it, it gets your brain focused in a certain way that reveals another thing that needs to be addressed, maybe the other thing that needs to be addressed will create a longer-term growth opportunity or a longer-term solution. Even though you're going to put off the short-term thing that you started doing in the moment. I believe this is what Kaizen is all about. You've heard me talk about it quite a bit. Just do a search for Kaizen, Kaizen, on this channel, and you'll find all the other videos I've done. It's a change for the better, continuous improvement. It's where we see a little bit of waste and we take the steps to remove that little bit of waste. We don't run our company or run our career or our aspirations by thinking we're going to do these big forklift changes. We're going to pull some lever and everything great is going to get changed, or everything bad, I should say, is going to get changed that we don't want to do. And now this new version of us is going to pop out. No, we want to make small adjustments along the way. And the positive term of yak shaving, even though it's a misunderstood euphemism now, I'll tell you in a little bit why if you want to geek out with me later, is a good thing. Let's let our brains get trained by this, because what you will find is in a very short period of time, your brain is going to be able to quickly tell high impact, low effort opportunities as you're doing the things that you're doing. I have found that if I ignore the quote unquote distraction, because I'm not doing the task again, I can't get back to discovering whatever that other opportunity for change was. So it's very important to me to stop this temporarily, take a look at this, document it, keep doing it if it's going to have a bigger impact, or come back to it later. Okay, I want to talk a little bit just now, if you wanted to geek out with me a little bit, about why this yak shaving kind of morphed into something it's not. The original Ren and Stimpy cartoon, please look it up. It's called Yak Shaving, and it's a goof on Christmas holiday. And it makes no sense to me after watching it. But basically, it's a yak that climbs up into your house out of your bathtub drain. And he's completely bald, but he's got, a 5 o'clock shadow. So he stands at your sink, shaving his own beard, and then leaves a messy pile in your sink. And a whole song was done about it through Ren and Stimpy. Now, what the heck does that have to do with getting distracted? Absolutely nothing. In fact, the guy that coined it, his name again was Carlin Vieri. That's not even how he used it, but he used it in an MIT lab. I'll tell you how in just a minute. And he got others to start saying it, wanting others to start saying it, and no one did except for one guy, Jeremy Brown. And Jeremy Brown, back in the year 2000, wrote this email kind of, skewing everyone's understanding of what yak shaving meant and what Carlin even meant when he first said it. So I worked my way back around to find another note from Carl Vieri. Once he started to see this thing blossom to something he didn't intend, he wrote what he originally intended. And I want to read this. And this again is from that American Express technology blog. He says this: "For me, yak shaving should be things that are related to your primary objective, not just distractions. For example, where tools are out of date, or there are other minor hurdles that take you on a path away from your primary task, but that can be traced back to that task. As for the Ren and Stimpy Show, I used to play hockey late on Tuesday nights. I would have dinner at midnight Tuesdays and watch TV, and I saw the Yak Shaving Day episode, which is Yak Shaving Day. I thought it was so odd that later, when I was struggling to get a document done overnight, I had to get permissions from an admin, set up a DHL account, get the PO, all that nonsense. I told my office mate I was yak shaving. Over the next few weeks or months, I tried to get folks around the lab to use the term, and Jerry Brown really liked it. He used it in his GSB post." So he basically meant it's any useless task that you really don't want to spend time doing. And what it became was, you start doing something that's important, and then it reveals another thing that you think might be important, so you focus on that for a little bit, and then get distracted by something else, and you never really get the thing done. So it is yak shaving. I hope you've been enriched by this. I know I sure have. It's been fun on this journey. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at Motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.